Welcome, everyone. Welcome each and every one of us to this session. I trust that we all had, welcome, Jeff. I trust that we all had a very wonderful day. All right, so very quickly, before we do any other thing, I want us to quickly have an opening prayer. I'll just take the opening prayer very brief so that we can go. We're already 2 minutes into our time. So very quickly, I'll just take an opening prayer and then we'll shoot. All right. So in Jesus' name, Father, we thank you. We bless your name for yet an opportunity like this. We ask, Lord Jesus, that you take all the glory in the name of Jesus. Father, we ask that everything we do today, Lord Jesus, we ask that you be glorified. We ask for clarity. We ask for the grace, Lord Jesus, to hear and do. Thank you, blessed Father, for in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen. You can react, you can drop your comments. Thank you very much once again. So very quickly, I don't know why many people are not here, but hopefully they get to join. Hopefully they get to join before we go too far into the call or into the lesson tonight. So as we all know, this is our February edition. This is our February edition for our growth series, which we'll be having hopefully throughout the year. So we'll be having series like this throughout the year. Every month we'll have a topic of discussion, something that will bless each and every one of us. All right. So this is our February edition, and just like we all know, we're talking about the strategy beyond lecture hall. It's an avenue for each and every one of us to learn what to do after school. A lot of times, plenty people are, confused. A lot of times, plenty people are hit with the reality. After school, what's next? All right. So that's what this session is for. I trust that we would all learn one thing or the other. I am very sure, I'm very certain that we would all learn. So very quickly, also, I think many other people are joining. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So quickly would have every one of us. I believe we all saw the link for questions, and I'm sure that those of us that have questions have already dropped our questions there. But also, as the call is going on or as the session is going on, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the message section or in the comment section here, and we'll go through each and every one of them. All right. So let's all mute our mics and then just pay attention. All right. Like I said, I am very, very sure that we'll learn from this night. It's going to be a very powerful session. The guest for today is, trust me, you would all be glad that you came for this event. All right. So without wasting more time, very quickly, I would be introducing our host for this session this evening. A very powerful woman of God. All right. She's somebody that I have been working with for a while now, and trust me, I really thank God for bringing us together. She's indeed an incredible person. All right. So very quickly, with your reactions, with your comments, let's make welcome Damilola Akintayo this evening. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Moses. All this reaction for me. Thank you. I see you guys. Thank you. Moses, you saw everybody, but you did not see me. Wow. That's interesting. Anyways, welcome to this session. I'm so glad we're all here, and welcome to our February edition. Like Moses has said, we're going to be having this on a monthly basis. So make sure that you are in tune, right? Make sure that you're always updated. And of course, I'm glad that some of us are already on the group chat, so you get the information. And also, if you've not followed us on Instagram, please do so. Yeah, let's get right into the session. So I'm truly excited to have you guys tonight. It is going to be an exclusive session, right? We're going to be talking about strategy. Don't worry, I'm not the one doing the talking. I'm just here to like brief you on what to expect, and then we move right to our guest speaker, right? But let me start with something a little uncomfortable. I feel like the reason why we were pushed to pick a topic like this, especially at this time, is that we realize that a lot of people are graduating, a lot of people are either entering and going into school, gaining admission, or they are graduating at the moment. And most people don't have clarity on these things. And the mistake we make is that we think once we have graduated, right, that's an edge, which is not far from the truth, but that is not the entire truth, right? We fail to understand a whole lot of things. Fail to understand that there are a lot of strategy that we need, right? Your degree is not a strategy, right? Your degree is not a strategy. Many of us have left the lecture hall. We have believed that once we graduate, things will automatically align for us, right? And you see that after leaving school, you really wait, struggle, apply, and then yet you're yet to get a job is because of lack of strategy, right? But the truth is that certificate is only a starting point, right? Certificates. I know that when we were much younger, we used to think, oh, if I go to school, right, if I finish schooling, I at least I have an edge, and that's like the end of it. Most of us we could not wait to finish schooling because we just thought that after schooling that is our end point. But the truth is that certificate is just the starting point. It is just the starting point. The lecture or the school will only give us knowledge, and some of those knowledge are not even practicable knowledge, right? I know that if you agree with me, some of most of the knowledge you had in school, if you're already out of school now, you agree with me that most of it are not even things that you would need for your practical day life, right? And that is because the school all will only give you knowledge, but the marketplace demands strategy. The marketplace demands strategy, right? In school, you will be rewarded for answering questions. In school, you'll be tested based on what they taught you, right? But the marketplace is going to test how you can solve practical problems, how you can bring profitability to either an organization or to yourself, right? So the marketplace, the real world, is after value. And most times, schooling doesn't teach us how to get value for the marketplace, right? In school, we are given curriculum, right? You have a process, you have a term, right? For a session, you have courses that you should take, you have a curriculum, a laid down curriculum. But in the real world, there is no design. You have to be the one to design your own part. You have to be the one to design your own part. In school, visibility is really not important. That's why you see that even though the most gentle person, if there is a word like that, in your school can actually be the first person, because the person doesn't need visibility. The person just need to know how to answer the questions correctly, and then the person becomes the best. But in the marketplace, you need visibility. Visibility is everything, and that is part of what we're going to be teaching you today in this session. And a lot of fresh graduates, a lot of people in school, they struggle with students in school, they struggle with visibility, they struggle with putting themselves out there, not because they are not intelligent, not because they are not capable, but because they were never taught how to position themselves, right? So most times you see that a lot of us are very intelligent, but in the marketplace, I often tell people that capacity beats intelligence 100 times. What I mean by that is consistency and capacity is actually far different from intelligence. And that is what a lot of people do not understand. So these are some of the clarities that we are going to be getting from this session today. I'm just trying to put context to the things you'll be learning. I'm sure that our guest speaker will do justice to it. But I need you to understand that the mindset you have as a student must change, especially if you're looking towards being in the real world, in the outside world, right? You need strategy because a lot of people apply for jobs. A lot of people apply for jobs. And one mistake that we often make, especially as fresh graduates, is applying for the same job or for different jobs with the same CV, right? These are just some of the things that we highlight. I'm sure that our speaker will do so, will do justice to it. And also, if you have questions, you can always ask. The link we sent to the group is a live link. So it means that as you ask your questions, we can get to read it even during our conversation. So after I finish speaking, we're going to drop the link to in the comment section. You can click on it and ask your questions, right? But like I was saying, many people have degrees, but not everybody have direct direction. It is easy to get a degree if you go to school and you focus on what you are being taught, right? And like I said before, schools also always have curriculum. A lot of people are hardworking. A lot of people are dedicated, right? And I always say this: if it is by hard work, right, an office worker should not be getting more than someone that carries a bricklayer, so to say, because the person is seen to be more hardworking than somebody that is working in the office. Although you will say, oh, you're doing brain work and all that, but the person is seen to be more hardworking than the person that is just sitting in an office and getting AC. I don't know if you get it. So most times in the real world, it is far beyond hard work, right? Hard work without strategy will just lead to frustration. If you're hardworking and you do not have the right strategy, you will just be frustrated over time because your efforts without positioning would lead to invisibility. And if you're not visible in the real world, like I said, it oftentimes puts you at a disadvantage most of the times. And when I speak of visibility, I'm not speaking on just social media presence. There's a way that you can be visible and solve real life problems even without being active on social media. But I'm hoping that we get there today if we ask the right questions. And another first that I see that a lot of graduates, a lot of students feel, especially during interviews, is when they ask you, do you have any question? Now, we dropped the link for questions on the group chat, and it will surprise you to see that we only have one question. So a lot of us are usually, I don't know if we're afraid or we're like, oh, I don't want to ask too much questions so that they don't see me as, uh, you know, being too forward. But in the real world, we really want to see how you can construct proper questions, how you can do these things, and then we see that, oh, you're actually a critical thinker. Right. So with that being said, I hope I have pushed you to ask your questions. If you have any question in mind, make sure that you structure it well. Make sure that you ask your questions in a way that we can help you. This is an open space. This is a safe space to speak up and ask your questions so that you don't get out there and then you are doing the wrong thing. So tonight's session is actually very, very important. It is not just about understanding what to do, right? It is understanding the reality beyond the lecture hall. It is about how to avoid mistakes that will delay your progress when you are out of school and even when you are in school. It is also about learning how to intentionally position yourself so that opportunities would find you and not the other way around. You know that there are a lot of people that opportunities, we know that we say this often, opportunities are scarce, but there are a lot of people that opportunities find them daily. Why? It's because they are rightly positioned. So as a person who is either in school or who is transitioning from schooling into a structured professional environment, you have to have a different mindset, right? You have to be more strategic. You have to understand your industry. You have to understand your industry. You have to build relevant skill. You have to position yourself more intentionally. So strategy will help you do all that. Strategy will help you ask questions. What industry am I entering? What skills do I need in that industry? What gaps do I need to close? Right? How do I put myself? How do I differentiate myself? When you ask questions like this, then you have started moving towards strategy, right? Strategy often turns intention into action. So you're not just strategizing, you are actually thinking of the way forward. So as we go ahead with this session today, I want you to be open-minded. I want you to not just listen, but I want you to listen carefully. I want you to listen strategically. As you listen, I need you to ask yourself, what do I need to adjust? What do I need to unlearn? What do I need to start? What do I need to stop? These are important questions that you need to ask yourself if you really, really want to move towards strategy and not just beating around the bush or not or moving without clear direction, so to say. So this session is actually very, very important. So I want you to please pay key attention to our speaker as he unleashed the wealth of knowledge that he has. It will surprise you to know that I am also waiting to learn from him because the wealth of experience that our speaker has. Don't worry, I'm going to be reading the bio. And for those that are on the group chat, I'm sure that you saw the bio that we dropped earlier today. But I'm going to be reading the bio and I'm going to welcome our speaker very quickly because I think I've taken a bit of his time. So I'm going to be welcoming him very briefly. Let me confirm that he's on the call. All right, so I'm going to be reading his bio very quickly. Our speaker for today is someone that okay, so let me just quickly read the bio. Don't let me spill without actual facts. So our speaker for today is Oluwasegun O Adeleke, right? And he is a technology and operations professional. He's a tech bro with over 7 years of post-university experience, right? Spanning telecommunication, software engineering, cloud infrastructure, and large-scale learning operations. He is the founder of the 984 Groups, an emerging platform committed to advancing innovation, expanding access to quality education, and enabling paths to a good and decent job across Africa. So our speaker for today is going to be speaking directly to us about something that he's very passionate about. His professional journey reflects a deliberate transition from core engineering into technology and ecosystem building. Right, our speaker worked at Globalcom. He worked as a field service engineer. He worked as a field service engineer, supporting critical network infrastructure, executing capacity upgrade, and resolving high impact technology incidents in high traffic environments. He later contributed to large scale learning operations at ALX Africa, where he managed engagement and performance system for over 12,000 learners, contributing to the successful graduation of more than 5,500 participants. He is also a graduate of electrical and electronic engineering from Ambrose Ali University with certifications in cloud and software engineering. Oluwasegun contributes technical depth with strategic thinking. Is passionate about equipping young professionals with practical clarity, structured growth strategies, and then the confidence to build meaningful careers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can see the welcome already. Wow, I'm not even done. All right, all right. So, very quickly, with a couple of ovation with all of the emojis you can find, please welcome. Oh my God, our speaker is already displaying his screen. I love it. I love it. Please welcome our speaker. Welcome him. Welcome. Let him feel so loved. Choke him with welcome. Choke him. Choke him. Choke him. Welcome, sir. We welcome you. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we can't wait to learn from you. So now you can go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Hi guys. Good evening. Let me know if you can hear me and it's loud enough. Who's calling me
Yes,
tech
sir.
uncle?
We can hear you, tech uncles.
Oh my god. Oh my god. All right. It's really good to be here. I'm a bit tense, so give me like a few seconds to just calm myself. 1 second. Yeah. I mean,
I was just discussing with like all the coordinators behind the scene. I mean, I've been using my internet and my network for since since this morning. I've not had any issues, and then just a few minutes to 8:30, every single network decided to pack up. Right, my Airtel is off, my MTN is off. So it has been a hassle, but yeah, I'm really glad that we're here. All right. So please again confirm if you can hear me loud and clear, and you can see my screen as well. Uh, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me know. Let me know, just to be sure.
Yes, Tekonko, we can hear you and we can see your screen.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hope
yes, we
I've
can hear you.
not lost
We can hear you, sir.
us.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh my god. Okay, I think my network has gone off now. Oh boy. Um. Okay. I think I'll just go on, assuming, hopefully, that you can hear me clearly. All right. So just to dive in, uh, my name is Olusegun Adeleke, and Damila, thank you very much for inviting me as well as Topa Moses. It's really good to be. Um, all right. Um, so I'm talking to you lecture hall today, and I'm really hope we do have among us. Uh, I believe that we have. I believe we have graduates. So hoping that graduates as well. It was very that have fun listening to that in they can apply. All right. I see some of my friends here as well. It's so good to see you guys. Like, might just do shout out along the way. All right. So, how to position yourself? Try know your options beyond what's told you, basically. All right. I'm going today. We'll be talking about after school. What so what so what's your working? I mean, electronics. So
All right. So,
Okay.
all right. So Moses, you can go ahead.
All right. So I saw somebody said network must obey today. So we need let's be praying. So he's trying to reload his network. I think he's having terrible network issues. So let's just pray and be patient, all right? I'm trusting God that would have it very smooth
Hi
soon.
guys, sorry. Can you hear me?
Welcome, sir. We can hear you.
You're back. Welcome. We
Okay,
can hear you.
so what I might end up doing is just using my phone. So I might not share slides. Maybe I'll just share the slides on the WhatsApp so that maybe you can follow along. But can you still hear me?
Yeah, you can send the slide so that I
Yes.
can share from here.
Okay. I might not even be able to see it because of the network because I'm trying as much as possible. I think the bandwidth is really bad.
I think if I'm sharing, you can see from your phone. So let's just try that.
Let's see. So I'll share it on the group so everybody has access to it as well.
All right. All right.
So we can probably just follow. But yeah, 1 second. So while I'm working on sharing, I was really saying that we're going to be talking about, because of our time, we don't have a lot of time. We're going to be talking about 4 things: the reality of life after school, positioning for a career intentionally, and then thriving once you're in, and then the fourth one is there is another path. All right. Um, okay. So I've shared it on the group already. Have you seen it?
Yes, I've seen it.
Yes, we have.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's just roll. All right. I believe that everybody's on the group. If you're there, please just open it and then you can follow along. Um, all right. So the gap between school and work is real, right? Again, I'm just really guessing that the audience here is an audience of people who have maybe recently graduated or are in school, right? And there is a statistic that there's approximately 600,000 graduates from uni every year, right? There is approximately 600,000 graduates. So every year, Nigerian universities approximately graduate 600,000 people. I want you to just let that sink in, right? 600,000 people every single year. And then, of course, we don't have so many job spaces. So there are fewer than 100,000 formal jobs that exist in Nigeria, right? So you can think of how the competition is. You're competing with, for just a single year, you versus 500, 500, 500, 999,000, 500, 999, and then the yeah, forgive me. So I will just jump in and then every time it kicks me out, I will just come back in and continue. But let me know if you can hear me now. Yes? Cool.
Yeah.
All
Yes,
right.
we can
So
hear.
yeah, so there are 600,000 people who graduate every year, and then there's just around 100,000 formal jobs that exist. So what it means is that there is serious competition, right? What it means is there are 500,000 people. If there are 600,000 graduates in a year, and let's assume there are 100,000 jobs, what it means is there are 500,000 people who would not be getting jobs. Reality, right? So what happens is, or what that means is, you're either in the 600,000, you're either in the 100,000 people who get a job, or you're in the 500,000 people who don't get a job. That is just using like logic per year, all right? But of course, that just gives you the idea around the competition that you're in as a graduate, in quotes, okay? So what happens when we graduate? This your certificate opens. So the next slide, I've seen this photo. The next slide, I'm talking about the next slide, reality after school. The certificate opens the door for you, right? That's what happens. So I would always advise people when people say, "Oh, don't go to school," this and that and that. I would always advise people, as far as you're in Nigeria, I don't know if any other country, right? But as far as you're in Nigeria, please, as much as possible, try to get a certificate, like a university certificate, because what that does for you is a lot of times it opens the door for you, right? I'm sure that I mean, when you have seen applications, you see, oh, you see this job, and then you see the first, or one of the criteria is, oh, you have a social and so certificate, you have a BS certificate, a minimum of 2-1, a this and that, right? A lot of times when recruiters are getting applications, because a lot of people apply, one of the first things they will just really do is to sieve out people, right? So they'll first just cut out everybody who doesn't have a certificate first, everybody who did not meet the minimum certificate benchmark. So even if you're the best person in the world, or you're the best in after sliced bread, if you don't have the certificate, for example, you are cut off automatically, right? So it's great that you go to school, and if you're in school, as much as possible, try to get a very good result. That is just, please don't listen to ideologies that say, oh, this and that. Try as much as possible to get a good result. Yes, the school system is rigged. Yes, a lot of these things, blah, 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 blah. But what happens is, if getting a first class, for example, might not be your ticket to maybe getting a good job. But what happens is, the discipline that helped you get to first class is that discipline that you build that can help you get to first class, is that discipline that can also help you just achieve a lot more greatness when you finish, right? So if you don't put that discipline, it means you don't learn the discipline. And so if you don't learn the discipline, I mean, you don't have it, right? So it's not always about the certificate in itself, right? It's not always about it. But like I said, one thing that it does is it opens the door for you, right? But employers are hiring character, adaptability, and initiative. That's why the first step is going to be, apply. They say submit your certificate and stuff. And so they will clear out people who do not meet some of the criteria. And the next step is they maybe have a physical interview with you. Why? Because they want to feel your energy, they want to feel your vibe, they want to see your character, they want to, just gauge that you're somebody who is not going to come out, even if you have all the skill in the world, they're not going to come and scatter their company with bad character. All right. Are we still here? Are we still clear? Am I too fast? Are we good? Okay, we're good. All right. So waiting is not a strategy as well. Waiting is not a strategy. Most graduates are passive, proactive ones get the call. So waiting is not a strategy. So after you get your certificate, the idea is not just to wait, right? Waiting really does nothing for you. You have to be proactive. You have to be proactive. So you have to take action. So remember, we said it's like a competitive space, right? So what it means is that you have to be the guy. I mean, it's not going to be handed to you on a platter. But again, we'll come to when you can get the possibility of it handed to you on a platter anyways. But which is not a strategy. I want you to know that. And then the third one is, there's more than one path forward. A job is one option, not the only place. And we're going to cover both today. Okay. So a job is one option, but just know that there are more than one path forward. Right. Again, we've seen the statistics: 600,000 people are graduating, and then 100,000 people there are 100,000 formal jobs. Okay. So yeah, this slide, just hold on. So getting hired is not luck, it's a skill you can learn. Okay. And so we're talking about positioning for a career now. So now you have graduated, now you have the certificate, you probably have the grade. What are like your steps? Okay. What are your steps? Okay. Again, getting hired is not luck, right? It's a skill that you learn, right? And so one of the things you need to do is, you need to know what value you are bringing to whatever industry you are stepping into, whatever company or whatever organization you are stepping into. And I think that because of how competitive the job market is, and because of like just need and things like that, we miss out the point where the employees are not doing us a favor by giving us a job. It's a value exchange. All right. So I'm giving you value. You need me, I need you, technically. So it's not something that, oh, if I give you a job, I'm doing you a favor. It's more like I'm giving you something, I'm solving a problem you have, and you are paying me for it. So it's a value exchange, right? So we have to look at ourselves from the point of, what value am I bringing to this company? What problem am I coming to solve? So let me maybe give you a wild example, or maybe an example. So maybe a social media, for example, a social media manager, right? If an organization is looking for a social media manager, look for a social media manager because they have a problem of probably marketing, or they want to reach more customers, right? They believe that the organization believes they have a product, but they feel like their customers don't know that they have the product, right? They feel like, oh, they need to be out there. That is a problem. Now they're looking for someone who can solve that problem. And so they go and say, oh, we are hiring social media manager, blah, 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 requirements, this, that. And then you are coming forth and saying, I'm applying as a social media manager. You're not coming there because they are going to do you a favor. You're coming there because you're saying, I want to solve, and you guys say you have this problem. I know how to solve this problem. All right. So I'm going to help your company get your products, get to more customers, and you get more sales and you get more revenue. All right. What's the value exchange back for me? Right, so that's the idea. It's a value proposition thing, right? Again, it's a mindset thing that a lot of us will have to shift, because there's competition. There's poverty in Nigeria. There are bills to be paid and all that stuff. So a lot of times we don't see it as value, so we more or less see it as favor. But so the first thing you do is sit down and ask yourself, what values, what solutions can I bring, what skills do I have that I know that I can solve so and so problem. All right. So write one specific problem, what specific problem is solved, and what type of employer, and then what type of industry. So you can do, you guys can see the screen, right? I help the employer achieve this through my skill, right? That's one. Number two is build deliberate visibility before you are needed. So LinkedIn, industry communities, professional events, be findable in the right rooms. Now, I want to say something that might sound very, I don't know, maybe I don't have the stats for it, but I strongly believe that for footballers here, there's the argument of who is the greatest, Ronaldo, Messi, blah, 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 just because of how good they play on the pitch. But I strongly believe that there's probably someone in Nigeria, someone in the village who is actually really good. I mean, given the same conditions of training and all that, they might surpass Ronaldo and Messi. But they're in the village, all right? And they're probably playing more people or something, right? And they probably have like a need, they probably need to, maybe their mom's health or something like that, and they don't have money, but they have really they have the potential to be really good, right? But the visibility, for example, right? Ronaldo is there and is making millions and millions and millions and millions and blah blah blah. But there's a possibility that if both people had the same opportunities, this person might even be better than them, but they're not getting. So one thing we must do, know your skill, know what you can provide, know the value that you can give. But if you are going to hide, or if you are hiding, you are not visible, your skill will just be very useless, right? It's like when Bible says you are hiding, who like lights a candle and hides it under like a table under a bushel, right? If you have a light and you hide it, what happens is you have your light, but nobody knows you have the light. Your light can solve a problem, but nobody knows. So what you need to do is you need to put it on the hill. And what is the hill in our generation? We're talking LinkedIn, we're talking social media, we're talking industry communities, professional events, be visible. That's the idea. Okay, be visible. So number three, time is really flying. So choose a lane and go deep. Being good at everything means being remembered for nothing. Specialists get called. Generalists are forgettable. Experts are referred. So if we do an experiment and we think, um, if you think among your what do I call it now? Your space, maybe your friendships or something like that, right? When you mention something specific, and somebody who does that thing specifically, you can literally just get like what. Okay, so let me give you an example. So if I say, I reach out to, let me look for a random person on the call. If I reach out to Jeff, for example, and say, I need a tailor. Do you know any tailor who's your friend? There's somebody's name that jumps into your head, or there's somebody that jumps into your head that who is a tailor. And why is that? Because the person chose a lane and the person has gone deeper. I mean, you might have biases anyways, but if the person is really good, all right, the person's name will jump into your head, as opposed to someone who is doing everything. All right. But the idea is choose a lane, go deep. What that does for you is you are able to build expertise. there's a caveat, and we're going to talk about it somewhere just ahead, but choose a lane, go deep into it so that you become an expert. So that when people are looking for someone who solve this problem, someone who does this, right? While everybody who is a generalist might have touched it, they know that you have gone deeper than just surface level touch it. Do you understand? So while maybe everybody is, for example, what can I use? While everybody, for example, is, let me use a tailor. While everybody, for example, is maybe a tailor, you are probably like a traditional, I'm just using this as an example, maybe a niche or something. You are very good with traditional dresses, something like that, where you pimp, like when people see your clothes, they know that this is just out of this world. This was carefully designed, so that kind of thing, right? And then number 4, build evidence, not just experience. So projects, certifications, testimonials, stack proof that speaks when you are not there. Your portfolio speaks when you are not in the room. So these are four things that you helps you position for career intentionally. All right. So again, this part we're talking about position for career intentionally, right? So 4 things that helps position for your career intentionally is: 1, you need to know like what value you are giving, what problem you can solve, what skill do you have, right? And so when you know that, the next thing is you want to be visible. Okay, you want to be visible. So again, like I said, social media, attend events, communities. Don't just attend and then when they are closing, you're the first person to leave. Network, build your community. That's visibility, right? So you attended an event, for example, maybe a tech event, for example, and you're sitting next to people. You want to shake them, introduce yourself. Oh, hi, my name is so and so and so. What's your name? Nice to meet you. Oh, I do this and do that and do this. What are you into? Things like that. And you just be surprised that you might meet someone who you end up collaborating with, who you guys end up going on to build like some of the best things in the world or big things in the world. Or you might just meet someone who, has an opportunity or who knows a company that's looking for, someone who does exactly what you do, right? But if you do not communicate with that person, you probably miss that connection. All right. And then choose a lane and go deep and then build evidence, not just experience. So, build projects, get your certifications, get testimonials from your work and things like that. All right. So when you do work for someone, you want to get testimony, be intentional about it. Don't wait for it, and don't just allow them to just give the testimony. Let it be, hype them up, give them a context around how they can make it really nice, really rich and things like that. Okay. So we're going to the next slide, common job mistakes to avoid. Let me see, how many slides do we have and how much time? So how much time do I have left? Let's see. Okay. How much time do I have left? Okay, let me just run. So common job mistakes, all right? Waiting to feel ready. Readiness is built by doing. You never feel fully ready, so start anyways. There's this thing about where they say, oh, when you see a job application and it says, oh, minimum of 5 years. If you have 3 years of experience, apply, right? But also the fact that you don't need to wait to feel ready. You don't need to, if you are, for example, a graduate, you don't need to wait to get a job before you start building experience. You can volunteer, there are a couple of things that you can do to build yourself. So readiness is built by doing. So you get ready by doing. Applying to every job with the same CV. So you need to target and tailor your applications, right? Every job is specific to a problem that they're trying to solve, right? So your CV to speak to the fact that, oh, I can solve this problem that you're trying to solve, right? So instead of just using one CV and just, oh, when there's a job, you push it here. When there's a job, you push it here. When you say you more like customize it, yeah. No LinkedIn presence. Your profile is your first impression. Silence readers absence. Now this one has a caveat to it. All right. It's 2 things. It is. I would say it is not compulsory, but I would say it is good that you have it, right? It is a plus that you have it. And let me just say this, right? I believe that maybe a large percent of us here, if you meet someone, one of the things that you do is you look for the person's socials. You're not even a hiring manager, right? You're just a normal person, right? So you meet someone, you know their name. One of the things that you want to do is you want to maybe Google them. You want to check on Instagram. You want to check on Facebook. You want to just get the feel of who they are. You want to see their picture. You want to see what they are posting and things like that. Same thing corporately too, right? If I'm an hiring manager, I want to employ someone, for example, I want to get the vibe, I want to see what energy the person has, right? And so professionally, LinkedIn is the space. So I go to LinkedIn and see, oh, what is their energy like there, things like that. And you can feel like, oh, this person actually sounds really cool. And that might just be your standout point that might make you get low, right? So it's cool that you have a LinkedIn presence. Also, this is very important. Comparing your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 10, comparison steals your direction. Run your own race at your own pace. It's very, very important because as you graduate, you are going to see some people just begin to fly, right? And of course, if you're on LinkedIn as well, to see some of these. I'm excited to how many people are on LinkedIn and see all these things. I'm excited to announce that I just bought my best. For those who are in tech, do not type thank you, Node.js. You just graduated like 3 months ago. All right. And then it feels like, oh, your life is slowing down, things like that, right? But we should just show that everybody's story is different. So don't compare. And also, I mean, some people also, they're just graduating and then you're comparing yourself with someone who has gained like 15 years experience, who has been working for so many years with what they can do, for example, and things like that. No, right? You understand your lane. Let their chapter 10 inspire you to be better, right? But don't let it make you, you know, lose your direction. All right. Also skipping soft skill. This is very, very important. One thing is to have the hard skill, which is like the technical skill. So you know how to do all these things, right? But if do not skip soft skills, because that is one of the key things that I mean you don't want to work with, if no matter how good someone is, if they are very rude and they have negative energy and they're very insultive, you really don't want to work with them. All right. So also, as much as you don't want to work with them, yourself also, you want to also be a person who has built their communication, they have built your accountability, they have built your emotional intelligence, and things like that. Those things are things they call career accelerators, right? So they are things that help you, scale. And then ignoring mentorship and community. Someone that has made a mistake already, you don't have to make it again. That's the idea of mentorship. I know people say, oh, mentoring is not very necessary, but the idea is that if somebody has made a mistake already, you don't need to make it again. So learn from them. Okay. Um, I'll just run this one so that try. So once you're in already, right? Getting the job is just the beginning. Staying relevant is the real work. All right. No, this is the slide before this one. Getting job is just the beginning, staying relevant. So it's very important that once you've gotten in, um, you have to you want to ensure that you are building yourself. So for example, instead of just surviving, you want to actually be thriving. So just surviving, for example, is doing what is asked, right? Thriving is doing more than what is asked. Now, this is like oversight. Some people say, and I think I'm going to speak to this, right? Some people say, oh, eye service, office politics, things like that. I promise you that the idea of um the idea of maybe office politics or nepotism in itself is not necessarily bad if you have the skill. All right, take note. If you have the skill, these things happen. These things are going to happen, right? They are not going to end, right? So what you want to really do is you want to be on the good sides of the people who are in charge. Again, people will call it eye service. The only time I would say it is terrible is when you don't have the skill for the job, you can't do the job, and then or somebody can't do the job, and then the person just getting the opportunities over somebody who can actually do the job. But if somebody can actually do the job and is able to get out that extra opportunity, I mean, there's nothing bad in it. So you want to be in the good sides of people who are in charge. So you're doing more than what is asked, right? But also being careful so that of course it doesn't trigger people or things like that, because it can also give bad energy. So waiting for a review to know you are standing, instead of waiting for your review, you want to seek feedback. So for example, when I was working with ALS, for example, when I started working, I think 1 month in, I reached out to like my manager. I was like, oh hi, can I have a call with you for like 10-15 minutes just to seek feedback on how I've been doing the last month and maybe things I can improve upon and things like that, right? So you don't need to wait for someone to like give you a review. You want to constantly be actively seeking feedback so that you can improve yourself. So reach out to your managers and say, oh, I've been here for like 2 years. Please can we have like a 10 minutes call or a 10 minutes chat or coffee or something? And I'll just want to maybe listen to your feedback and know things that you think I can do to do better or things like that. All right. Um, you don't want to stay silent in meetings. Speak with evidence and speak with confidence in meetings as well. Don't hold knowledge close. Share what you know. Build a reputation of somebody who knows stuff, right? So share what you know. um Treating it role as a chapter in your larger story. So the job should not just be about the paycheck, it should also be that this is adding to my story. Okay, so this is me building for a larger story. So I'm just speeding up to wrap up now. The next slide is getting a job is not the only path, right? And so I know for the large percentage of us, right, especially for people who have um will I call it millennial parents now? I don't know. I don't know the gen to call it, right? The idea was, oh, go to school, get a good result, finish from school, get a job, get married, live a life, get a job that's possibly maybe probably a government job with job security where you can work for like 35 years, retire and things like that. So everybody or most people just felt like that's the only way. All right. So once I graduate, the next thing I want to do is I want to look for a job, all right, so that I can start making money. Once I get a job, next time to do is I have to get married. Once I get married, I just be in my job. Hopefully, my job they don't sack me. Things like that, right? But that is not the only way. Like, I mean, again, just going back to the stats from earlier, we talked about how there's 600,000 graduates, there's 100,000 jobs, right? So um, school told you to study hard, get good grades, and get a job, but nobody talked about building something of your own. Again, take notes. I said from the very beginning that please go to school. My advice is always go to school. My advice is always get a good result, right? But it doesn't stop there. Nobody talks about building something. So you have to also think about that, right? And that's the conversation we're about to have, where instead of me just looking for a job, I can actually build something and become a job creator, right? It is possible, right? It is very possible. Right. So entrepreneurship has a part beyond the lecture. So not everybody who builds a business plan too. So this is just for people who this next slide please. This is just for people who now will be interested in this conversation and say, okay, fine. I think I'm interested in this. This building, there's also another path, right? There's a path in Nigeria. There's so many problems in Africa, right? And the idea of building a business is building a solution around some of these problems. So, for example, power is a problem, logistics is a problem, health is a problem, education is a problem, food system is a problem. Every broken thing is a gap someone can fill. All right. Every broken thing is a company that someone can start. Um, so if you think of some of the biggest companies in Nigeria, for example, you'd see that they really saw a problem and they are trying to solve that, right? So let me say Uber, for example. Somebody thought, oh, as a person, I want to get somewhere. I don't want to enter public transport, right? I don't have a car. Or even if I have a car, I don't want to drive, right? What's a comfortable way that I can go from point A to point B without going through public transport directly, maybe from the comfort of my own. I'm like, oh, the person thought, what if we have cars and we have drivers, and then we have like a system where somebody can request and the car can come pick the person up. They're not the owner of the car, but the car comes pick the person up, take the person to where they're going, drop the person, and then they are good to go. Solution, right? The person built a solution around that, and they are now, I mean, the amount of jobs that come out from just that company alone, right? And so you think of so many organizations. So you can think like that as well. Think what problem is in Nigeria? How can I solve it, right? And then build something around it. Before you know, you start employing. So when you start, for example, you might start alone, and before you know, you get the secretary. Before you know, you get this person. Before you know, you get this. Before you know, you are paying salaries of like 100 people or 50 people or 20 people, right? And those 20 people might just be graduates. So now you are not in the pool of people looking for a job. You are in the pool of people creating more opportunities for people. Okay, number two, you don't always need capital to start. You need clarity. So Nigeria's most successful business started with an observation, a skill, or a conversation. Clarity on the problem comes before funding. All right. So you just need to understand the problem. A lot of times there is money, right? There's money around. You know where, I don't know if you know this Tolu fund. I think that's like it gives 5,000 USD to businesses. All right. And there are so many others like that, right? It's just so just find a problem, You map out how you think you can solve the problem. A lot of times you can always seek for fund and you find fund. So it doesn't have you don't always have to think at the beginning about, oh, I don't have money, right? So just find the problem, find like map out the solution, and then money will find its way to you. I think that's the word to use. And then number three, you can be employed and building. Okay, you can be employed and building at the same time. So again, it doesn't mean that you have to it doesn't mean that you have to, okay, I'm still in time. It doesn't mean that, oh, because you want to build something, you have to like leave your job. If you're currently doing a job, I mean, it's a plus for you, right? Well, you can, many of the founders, many of the people who started something actually started a business on weekends. So they will do their job Monday to Friday, then they dedicate Saturday and Sunday to ensuring that they're building their business, right? Or some people, they go 9 to 5 and then from 5 p.m. to like maybe 9 p.m., for example, they focus on their business, right? So it doesn't always have to be that, oh, because I'm decided that I want to be an entrepreneur, I have to leave my job, or because I'm doing my job, I can't build a business or I can't build something. And if you're currently working somewhere, I mean, it's a plus because again, like I said, the bills have to be paid, right? Um, so you can always like do like on your weekends, after hours, or between jobs, just like build a solution around something. Right. Number four, being a job creator changes your contribution to the economy. One founder with a viable business creates job for others. That is a different kind of impact than finding job for yourself alone. I think I said this earlier, right? Instead of not you joining the pool of the 600,000 people that are looking for jobs, what you are doing is you are becoming a creator, right? And so you're now adding to the pool and then solving. I mean, you're being a solution on a larger scale than just yourself. Okay. I think I would, yeah, the next slide quickly. Study how to start if entrepreneur is your part. Start with the problem, not the product. Validate before you invest. So don't just pump money into something that you haven't validated to be sure that it's working. All right. So validate before you invest. Build your simplest possible solutions first. So don't be stuck in building like a very complex solution. Think around, oh, what is the simplest solution I can give to this first, right? And then when you build that simple solution and you start, you see that, for example, you see apps like maybe WhatsApp, for example, you see that they're always adding updates almost every day, right? WhatsApp was not like this from the day one. They built something very basic, right? And every day they're adding something new. Every day they're listening to customers and saying, okay, we can add this, oh, we can add this, oh, we can add this, right? So just think of the simplest possible solution to this problem, all right? And then start with it. And then as you go on and go on and go on, then you can now build on top of that, all right? Number four is build your founder brand alongside your business. So people a lot of times buy from people they trust, not necessarily like brands, right? So as much as you're building people buy from brands as well, but as much as you're building your brand, also be building your personal as a person too, so that when people say, I want to buy from this particular company, for example, and that someone's asking, oh, who is the owner? And they mention your name, they're like, oh, I think I've heard that name somewhere before. Oh, this guy's really smart. I think what they will offer will be something, right? And just because of that, they come to you. Okay. Of course, also, and finally, learn the language of business early. So customer acquisition, cash flow, margin, revenue. You have to learn what those words mean so that like it says here, they are survival words for founders. These are very key words. So you want to know what revenue is, you don't know what margin is, cash flow is, because some people do business and they don't know that they are losing. They just feel like because money is coming, they think that this business is booming. But the truth is, if you sit down and really analyze, you realize that you're actually losing a lot of money. All right. Okay. I think that is basically okay. So your practical next slide. I'm rounding up now. I just have 2 slides left. Practical next steps. Start this week. I mean, we've talked about a lot of things. We talked about we basically talked about what you need to do just after you graduate, when you're getting into a job, knowing that there are multiple options, not just a job. You can be an entrepreneur, which is start your own business. So what are the practical next steps for the next probably 1 month, right? If you are pushing a career, for example, write your value proposition. So what problem can I solve? What skill do I have? What I graduate with, or what skill have I learned that can be like a solution? Oh, for example, I can sew clothes, right? Or something like that. That's very basic. But yeah, write your sentence value proposition. And then audit and refresh your LinkedIn profile. So remember we talked about visibility and things like that. So look through your LinkedIn profile. You want to, add some touches and just let you reflect what value you are giving out, what problem you can solve. And then you want to send 3 thoughtful connection requests in your field. So you want to search, oh, who are the people who are doing what I think I can, what I think I have value for, right? Or things like that, connect with them. And then you want to also join the professional community, so show up and contribute. So not just join their community and being quiet because you're looking for, them to send like job posts or things like that. You join the community and you actively contribute as you are getting, okay? And of course, you need to also think around completing that certification. So if your skill is something that is certification wise, think of completing a certification, or you can launch a portfolio project. So if you're a mass comm person, for example, you can think, okay, let me know mass comm because I don't really know much about mass comm. If you're maybe someone who's an actual actress, you can think maybe, oh, my portfolio project can be, I want to ensure that I have just like a monologue kind of thing, right? At least 2 or at least 4 before the end of the month, right? That is going to, so that I can have that in my portfolio, so that if anybody reaches out to me, or I will reach out to anybody and saying, oh, I can do this, I can show them this is what I've done, right? If you're building a business, write the problem you want to solve, talk to 5 real people who experience that problem, so you understand that problem and things like that. Sketch your simplest possible solutions, find one early customer or collaboration to test it with, and then deliver something small, collect feedback, improve. Bottom line, which is the last slide now, is the world rewards those who show up intentionally, right? So whether you're entering a career or building your company, the world rewards those who show up intentionally. So know your value, communicate it clearly, consistently build reputation open doors, and then stay curious. The graduates who thrive keeps learning after the lecture hall ends. Thank you so much, guys. Because of time, I think I'll just end here. So in case we have questions, we can take it and fly. Can anybody hear me?
You.
Oh, yes, we can hear you. Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Thank you so much. That was really insightful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you can see the comment section, amazing. Amazing. Like, the first thing that caught my attention was the slide. I love how detailed it is, and thank you for sharing it with us. I'm sure that we'll still sit down and digest it. Right, so we're going to be very quickly. We're going to move on to our Q&A session, where we get to ask questions. So I can see that somebody dropped a question on the chat box. If you have questions to ask a speaker, now is the time. Now is the time for you to ask those questions. But very quickly, I would like us to quickly answer a few questions that I feel most people on this call would like to get clarity on. Right. So I know you already, and I'm so glad that you already gave us practical step, a 1 week plan. That is really, really amazing. So it means that anybody on this call already knows what to do for the next 1 week. You already know where to start. But then my question now is for those that are still in school, for those that are still in school and they feel like they are already studying the wrong course. In Nigeria, you probably did not get admission on time, and then you finally get admission and you're studying education. Pardon me for those that studied those courses. I'm not saying that it is very bad, but what I'm saying is that there are some courses that you studied and then you already know that you have an edge. Right. So for people that studied agriculture, which is actually a very, very good course, right? For those that studied education, but they just feel like they studied the wrong course. What are the practical steps that they can take to intentionally pivot? I've heard of stories of people that studied agriculture and then all of a sudden they are tech bros and tech uncles like yourself. They are doing great and mighty things. These days, like everybody wants to go into tech. And that's another question I will ask, by the way. But for those that feel like they're studying the wrong course already, what is your advice to them? What do you suggest that they do, even now that they are in school, just to help them when they graduate?
Okay. So I think there are so many reasons why people study the wrong course. As much as we're speaking to that, I think there's also the part where there's some people who are actually studying medicine who have no desire for that, or some of these core course who actually feel like they are studying the wrong course because what they really want to do is somewhere else. But I think what I really said at the beginning really was your certificate opens the door for you. Okay. That is one. So take note of that. And what it really does is opens the door for you. So for example, I mean, right in Nigeria, right? You if you maybe know somebody who's working in the bank, or you have seen how like banks put out applications, for example. A couple of people who work in the bank don't have any accounting certificate or any financial certificate, right? They just they just graduated, right? And even though so you cannot enter there without a certificate, right? But you can enter there basically just because you graduated. That's the first step. Just take note of that. Just graduating is enough. I think that's the word. And I think I heard someone once say that it is good self that you graduate in a course that is not so intense with the first class than for you to go and do like a very deep course and finish with the third class, right? Um, there's that, right? So I think the first key is, and I think we need to look at it also from the fact that a lot of the things we learn in the university are I think in my school then they say you are built in character and in learning. So in character and in learning. But again, that learning, let's not even talk about that today. But the idea is, and I think I mentioned it earlier, if you study the disciplines that you use to study to become a first class graduate, right? That discipline can help you in life. Not necessarily the first class or the certificate, but just that discipline that helped you study to become a first class graduate. Right. So even if you are in the wrong course, for example, you're in the wrong whatever, for example, the discipline to finish well, even when it feels like you're not doing what you want to do, can help you thrive in the future. So what you should be learning, or what you can be learning, is what disciplines, what characters can I be learning in this phase of my life? All right. Also, while you are doing that, and this is for people who are in school, while you are doing that, you can also now be saying, I can split my time and also be learning what I am interested in as well. Right. So I am in school, I'm studying a course that I'm not really interested in, but I'm interested in this other thing. I can spend 70% of my time going through and ensuring that I get a good result in my course in school because I'm paying school fees and all that, right? And of course, like I said, that builds the discipline of you being able to excel even in things that you don't feel like doing. You build that discipline for yourself. And then the 30% time that you have, you can now be using it to build or develop in things that you actually feel like you want to do. So that by the time you're graduating, you have the idea around that thing you want to do and you can easily now start pivoting around that. If you have graduated already, fine and good. Like I said before, a lot of times in Nigeria, what you graduated, the course you studied might not necessarily be needed, just that you graduated and then what you graduated with. Do you understand? So now you have graduated, you now have the path in your hand. So what you want to do is, what's that thing you want? What's that area you're interested in? And then we spoke about in one of the slides where we spoke about some of the steps, right? So understand, you might not have the value now. So understand what value that area can give. Start learning. So you can use YouTube, for example. You can take courses, for example, right? You can take certifications if that part requires certifications. Find people who are in that space and reach out to them and let them be mentors. So reach out to them like, oh, sir, this blah blah blah. I graduated with this, that. I'm really interested in getting into this industry. I want you to be my mentor. You might not even say be my mentor. It might just be like, I just want to connect with you so that I can learn more. Maybe you can give me steps on what I need to know or what I need to study or what I need to take, right? So things like that. I don't know if that answered the question. I hope my network has not kicked me out. Can anybody still hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you very
Okay.
much, sir.
Cool. Um, is there another?
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. I believe that was I believe that was very
Okay,
self-explanatory.
yeah, I can hear you. Thank you. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, we can. We can.
You can hear you now.
All right, thank you. So, thank you for that explanation. I think that answers that question. Another thing I would like to add for anyone that is in that situation is, like you have said, just make sure that while you, uh, is my network slow or
We can hear you.
Moses? All
Network is
right,
a
thank
case this night.
All right, thank you. Thank you. So another thing I would like to add is while you're in school, you can make sure that the thing that you're interested in, you start learning it, right? I know I always advise people that I speak to on a regular basis that you can actually pick up a skill while you're in school. And by the time you're graduated, you already have experience in that skill, right? Also make sure that volunteering is something that you do passionately. Don't take volunteering lightly. Volunteering is actually something that can help you. It's actually an experience that can help you. So, in this recent world, we are so lucky that most times people don't ask for your experience based on where you have worked officially, but they just want to see what you have done, right? So, if you have been working since you have been in school, take for example a graphics designer, right? You've been designing since you're in 100 level. I'm sure that by the time you graduate, you already have a portfolio filled of graphics that you have designed for your clients. So when somebody wants to employ you, they're asking for your experience, and then you can confidently say, I have 5 years experience and this is the result, right? And also, if you're interested in cybersecurity or data analytics or something beyond the normal, right, you can learn these things while you're in school, build your portfolio, and you have these things to present. Even social media marketing, social media managing, these things are things that you can learn and also lay your hands on it. Like I said, make sure that volunteering is your best friend, right? Especially when you know that you're in a institution like this. Make sure that volunteering is your best friend. You want to volunteer but then be very strategic. And I often say this to people when you're volunteering, make sure that you're volunteering in a particular space that you know that would enhance what you're passionate about, right? So don't just go ahead volunteering for different things. Make sure that you are strategic with your volunteering. So it means that if you want to volunteer and you already know that you have passion towards a particular thing, make sure that you're volunteering towards that particular activity. Also, of course, internship is open to you. Please take note that I'm speaking to people that are still in school and they are open to skill, right? People that stay in school, this is your time to volunteer. This is your time to do your internship. This is your time to even apply for jobs, right? Especially now, now it's more flexible because we are now in an age where people really do not need your physical presence to before you can deliver, right? You don't need your physical presence. You can actually work from anywhere. So this is the time you can leverage technology, leverage AI, learn new things. I cannot overemphasize the need to learn a new skill. Make sure that you are conversant with what is happening around the world, and I'm sure that this will help you. So, very quickly, because of our time, I want us to wrap up before 10 o'clock. Adenike dropped a question. I didn't quite get the question, so maybe if she wants to unmute her mic, she can. She can do that, but let me just read it out and then I hope that she'll meet her mic to ask the question. Let me just read it in case you understand the question. So she said, Sir, I want to ask a question. If you want to work outside of your field, you must take more skills for the job you want to apply for in these countries. Okay, in this country, skill don't. So I would like to assume that that question was cut off at some point. So, but I think she's speaking about skills. I didn't care if you're still, I keep saying I didn't care. Apologies. Adebisi Aderonke. If you're still on the call, you can unmute your mic and ask the question. You can unmute your mic and ask your question if you're still on the call. Right, before we go to the
Okay,
questions.
good evening.
All right, good evening. Good evening.
My question is, for example, now, someone that's graduated and you did a course that people talk about that is not a good field in Nigeria, that doesn't pay well, who wants to employ you and all of that. Then maybe you want to transit into another skill entirely, like all these tech skills, and you want to focus on one skill in the tech field, or maybe like HR, human resources. But you need to take more certifications for the skills. But the problem now is that people don't companies don't want people that don't have experience. They will say you must have experience. Even if you show them you've worked on something, they might say the experience you have is too low, or you don't have enough experience, you just have maybe 1 year experience is so small. So now I want to ask a question. What can you do in that kind of situation?
All right. Thank you very much, Adepsi, for that. I think I get the idea around that. So let me really just see. First off, and this may be general to everybody, is I feel like I would really want to encourage every one of us as Nigerians to think like producers, right? And think more around starting up something, like starting up a business. So where we talked about like entrepreneurship, right? I really encourage us more to get into that. Number one. Um, so let me now just piggyback to that question and say that the truth is, and I always like to switch roles and think like an HR person. So if I have a company, so at DBC, if you have a company and you are looking for an HR, you're looking for an HR because obviously you have the problem of um you're trying to manage like a human resource, for example. A lot of times, and of course you're going to be paying, let's assume you're going to be paying really well, hopefully, right? A lot of times you feel like you want to get someone who has a lot of experience so that it doesn't feel like your money is going to waste. And this is just thinking like maybe I need to be a hiring person or like the owner of a company, for example, right? Because I mean, you are going to be paying the person, right? So it means that you want to expect that you get like the most value from it. And so this is the bias that a lot of companies come to the job market with. They feel like because I'm going to be paying, I want to ensure that I get the best person. And then they forget that if everybody's looking for the best person, then how do the people who have not become the best people yet become the best people, right? So what I would really say is keep building your experience around things. And Damila talked about volunteering, for example. Volunteer, right? So human resource, for example, um, you can look for organizations that are looking for volunteer human resource persons, right? And if possible, even look for like global organizations to volunteer with them, right? What that is doing for you is you might not be paid for it, but it's actually building the skill for you. So that when you're applying for a job, this is not just talk now. You're coming with some level of experience. Even though it was a volunteering role, you're not paid for it, but you still did the job. So you're coming with some level of experience. That's one. Then just knowing that some companies will be just that, right? All right. So keep applying till you find your own space. That's reality, right? Some companies will just be that. Some companies will just be looking for somebody with 20 years experience. That's them, right? So just keep looking. There'll definitely be companies who will give you the opportunity to um show your skill as well. So while you're looking, be volunteering as well, so that you're not wasting your time. You're building more experience. So volunteer as well. If there are other skills you have, you can explore that so that you can like get money to like pay the bills and then write some of your certifications, because I know those certifications are not free, right? So if you have like other skills too that you can easily quickly trade off, right? You can do that as well. But like I'm really encouraging everybody, if we can build something, start something, that would really be nice. And it doesn't have to be like a tech company. You can, if you know how to play tech, for example, Tara Durotoye, that's Fela Durotoye's wife. She runs House of Tara. That's like a makeup, I think. It's a makeup, like a whole business that's into makeup, like has branches and so many.
She's not doing all this fancy tech thing. She's doing some of those base skills that AI in quotes will not. So for the tech guys that are afraid of AI, I mean that AI. So plating hair, for example, plumbing, carpentry. So some of these basic things, anyways. But yeah, that would be my answer to that. I don't know if that's fine.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I would just like to add, Adebisi. So you see, one thing that I realize about young graduates is that we are scared of failure, especially when it comes to interview, right? So don't be scared, or don't take it as it's a you problem when they don't accept you, or when you go for an interview and then you are rejected, right? See it as a, like he said, like our speaker said already, it's a value exchange. It's a value exchange. So if they do not see your value enough to employ you, then it's their loss. But that does not support complacency, right? It still means that there is something you need to do to ensure that you are unrejectable, right? So it just means that you need to build your skill. So, like he said, I usually picture something. If the portfolio you are showing me is better than somebody that has 20 years experience, I wouldn't leave you that you are still very young for that 20 years experience person. I promise you. Why? Because age is still on your side, right? And if you can achieve this in 10 years, it means that, and that person is achieving it in 20 years, it means you are far ahead of the person. So again, you want to check, what am I presenting? The things you said you have done, are they really things that can take you to where you are hoping to get to? I don't know if you get it. So it's just like you're saying you are a social media manager, for example. I'm using that as an example because I want to use algorithm. And then you share me the pages that you have managed. And I'm seeing 1,000 followers, and the algorithm is showing 20 views, 30 views. And then there is somebody that has 20 years experience, and the algorithm is showing 20K views, and they've been able to build over 20K followers. Who do you think I'm going to employ? Right? It just somehow shows that that person knows what they are doing over time than you. But then if you can achieve 40K views and you're still very young, and I can see that the algorithm is showing clearly that, okay, I have managed this from this time to this time, and this is what I've gotten. If your result is speaking better than somebody that has 20 years experience, I promise you that nobody is going to reject your result. Do you understand? So you still want to check these results that you said you have. Are they really something that will take you to the doors that you are trying to knock? And that is why we emphasize capacity building. Make sure that you are building capacity. Don't be comfortable with the results that you are achieving now. And that is why I like the fact that people that are students are still on the score. If you start managing a page in your 100 level and you are consistent with it, I'm sure that the results you will get will be far better than somebody that started managing the page after they graduated. Do you understand? So you just have to make sure that the results you are presenting, even when you said, oh, I have worked somewhere, I have experience, is because that result is not convincing enough. There's a way I look at a portfolio and I am convinced already to employ somebody. I don't know if you get it. So just make sure that your results are speaking. The results are speaking. There are people that they don't even go for interviews these days. People just recommend them. Oh, I saw this person on LinkedIn. I've seen their result over time, and I'm comfortable, and I believe that she can do this. And the person might not even know you. But it's because over time you have built credibility. And that's why our speaker mentioned visibility. So please make sure, because of time, I won't be able to really dive much into it, but just make sure that the results you are presenting are breathtaking results. Don't be comfortable with doing the normal thing. And our speaker spoke on that too. If you have to do too much, please do too much. All right, so we have some questions on our link, and I'm going to read like 2 questions so that our speaker can just answer everything at once because of time. I'm going to read 2 that are related, so that I can answer, and then I chip in some things, and then we move to the next one. So a question says, what are the right questions to ask during an interview when I am asked if I have any questions? I think the person is asking because I spoke briefly on that before we started. Also, another question is, in preparation for job interviews, what questions should we look out for? Also, I desire to know 4 or by my standards, how can I set the tone for day one? Okay. So these questions are on interview, positioning, and setting the tone for the interview.
All right. So I'm not very certain there is an exact template. Well, I don't have an exact template. But what I would usually say is, or what I would say is, I wanted to say investigate, but that's not the right word. Research, yes. So the company that you are going in an interview for, research about them. All right. And then that's where you get your questions from. You don't really need to cook up questions or anything like that, right? You just curiously check about those companies and just ask them questions, right? Um, so you go to their website, for example, oh, and you see that this is happening, blah 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 blah. And I mean, if it's not related to the interview, for example, you can mention that, oh, you were going through this and you have a question, although it's not really related to the role or the interview, but you just wanted to ask, right? And if they say, of course you can ask, of course you go ahead and ask, right? I get an answer. Of course, if it's related to the role as well, I mean, even better, right? But the idea is research the company or the organization that you are interviewing for. Um, and then research the company, the organization you're interviewing for, and then you usually always get your questions from there. But some of the questions that I would say I would have asked are just weirdly around who, like, what's like the day-to-day operation of the person doing this role, or how is like team like, or just some personally I've just randomly asked it. But yeah, like I said, I personally don't have a template, but research the company and then just get questions from that. I think that is for that. What's the other one? Sorry, I think I forgot. Is there anyone
All
I've
right.
not answered?
So I think the other question is how to set it the tone. And you already said that there is no template to it. So I'd like to assume that that covers for that. So I would just like to add briefly, when you're asked if you have any question, one thing that I often advise is that you use that opportunity to sell yourself. So for example, if I'm in an interview and then they ask me, do you have any question? And I'm then going to ask a question that then leads them to see that I actually know what I'm doing. So for me, most times I tend to ask questions like, "Oh, I hope your company is open to innovations. I hope that when I bring in suggestions, because I'm a person that likes to change processes when I see that they are really rigorous. I hope that your company is open to accepting new innovations and they are willing to change processes and they are not just after, oh, this is how we do things here, you can't change it. Now this positions you, and that's just an example, right? But this already positions you as somebody that is a critical thinker, a problem solver, right? So indirectly, I'd already sold myself to them that, okay, I'm not just coming to do the things that you tell me to do, but I'm trying to bring in new things. And that is the idea of employing anybody new. We really want to understand that you are bringing fresh ideas. And most companies, they say it's fresh blood. When you bring fresh blood, we expect fresh ideas from you. So you use that opportunity to sell yourself. What is something that you know that you are really good at, right? So you can say, oh, I like in my former place of work, I remember developing templates for them. Say things that you have done, sell yourself, basically, right? So you could say something like, oh, so in my former place of work, and for those that don't have experience, you could say, I remember when I was volunteering for a particular organization, we had to do a particular task, and then they had a particular way of doing it. But when I checked it, I saw that there are easier ways to do this. So I came up with a template that was easier, and because of that, we're able to solve the problem that could have taken us 1 month. We're able to solve it in 3 weeks. Now, do not over promise, but just make sure that you are in the middle, right? So I hope that that answers your question on what kind of questions should you ask if you're asked. But never say you don't have any question, please. Use that opportunity to sell yourself. When you say you don't have any question, indirectly you don't get that opportunity to sell yourself. So when they ask you, do you have any question for us? Please ask even the barest minimum question, and then you use that question to sell yourself. I hope that answers your question. Okay, so for the next question on preparation for job interview. So for one thing, I will always advise people when you're preparing for a job interview. Our speaker said it, but he was trying to be all formal. Please, if you have to investigate the company, please do that. Right. In fact, I don't want to say, look for a private investigator. Right. That would be extreme. But then subtly be a private investigator. Search, research, know everything about the company. And now you're not just knowing because you think that they would ask you about the company. One thing I want you to do when you're searching for the company is to search as a problem solver. What do I mean by that? When I'm checking your website, if I'm coming in for a particular role, I want to check what's the problem with this company. And it would even be good if you have people that are already in company. So you can check on LinkedIn. Oh, who is working at so place? You want to message the person. You want to ask questions that would make you understand what is going on in the company. Now you're doing that because you want to sell yourself in a way that they already know that. So when I speak to them, or when you speak to them, you are highlighting the problems that they have and you are giving them the solution. Nobody would listen to a problem that they have about a company and would not want you to solve the problem. It's just like the case of Joseph. After interpreting the dream, there was no other person that could do the job. I don't know if you get it. Because he had already seen the problem. Now you have seen the problem. Come on, do the suggested solution. It's that simple, right? So make sure that when you're researching the company, you want to check what problems do they have and how do I come in. So take, for example, you are applying to be a social media manager. I expect that you have gone to the page, you've checked their social media page, you've done their social media audits. Oh, I saw that when you post your content, you really do not have a proper structure for your posting. And I've seen that your posting is actually very scattered. What I mean by that is that when you post a carousel, most likely it is advisable for you to post a video next so that the algorithm can push it to the next audience. Now, saying this alone already makes them feel like you know what you are doing, even if you don't know what you're doing. And then I'll suggest that we have a content calendar that would help us position our contents more professionally to our customers so that when they see us and when they see our page, they already have the confidence and the trust to patronize us. I hope somebody is listening and getting what I'm saying. So please do not just go to an interview or research them because you think they will ask you questions. Think, be a critical thinker, think of solutions, and that's what they call elevator pitch, right? How can you bring solutions? What can you do differently? And also for setting the tone, like our speaker has said, there is no one way to interview. We can only give you tips. Setting the tone. One thing I advise fresh graduates to do, I'm sorry that we have taken a lot of your time, but I hope that it is worth it, right? One thing I advise fresh graduates to do is that do interviews regularly. It helps you. So don't just apply for a role that you think you want to do, right? Because you're a fresh graduate, you should not be industry specific, so to say. Even though you would apply for your industry specific interests, make sure that you are also applying for other opportunities. What happens to you is that it gives you exposure. In fact, sometimes you just do an interview jokingly. Do it knowing that you will not get that job or you would not do that job. Why? It gives you experience. It gives you experience. So if you are actively searching, I would advise that you at least do one interview or two interviews in a week, just so that you are caught up with you're familiar with questions and you know how to answer questions when you are asked on the spot. It's another thing to know the answer to a question. It's another thing to be able to answer on the spot, right? But when you do these things regularly, it just helps you. So make sure that you attend interview frequently. When you attend interview frequently, you already know what works for you. You already know what you will say that when I say this one, I say this one, I say this one, they will be impressed. But if it is not a regular thing, then you start to fidget. You start you start to get all, and it's a mindset thing too, right? No, it's that if you know this thing that our guest speaker has said, it will save you, it will save you your life forever. Just know that they need you for this job. You are not begging them. When you If you have that mindset, I'm going for this interview because they also need my assistance, because they also need my me to solve a problem. You Every fear you have is gone. You already have that courage. Step into the room like you are the best person for the job. Step into that room like you are the best person for the job because it shows. When you get to a room and they're asking you questions and you are fidgeting, they already know that this person doesn't have proper communication skills. So get into that room, speak like you are the best person for the job, even if you know that you are not, even without experience. Don't, the problem with us is that we undermine ourselves even before getting to the interview. Oh, I don't have enough experience. Oh, I've never worked anywhere. So they are most likely not going to employ me. Nobody has said anything. So make sure that you are going to that room knowing that you are the best person for the job. I hope this answers your question. So with that being said, we are going to move very quickly to the last set of questions that we have so that we can wrap up this session, taking a lot of time, and we apologize for that. So the next question I have here is, I need practical insights on how to adapt and sell as a newbie in a corporate world. Please note that as a techie in a financial institution, I need coping mechanisms. Okay, so I think this is for our tech uncle. You're going to help us with coping mechanisms for somebody that is a techie in a financial institution, right? The person needs practical insights on how to adapt as a newbie in the corporate world. And this is related to the first question we have, how to transition as a professional, being that you were a student, you're once a student that could decide to skip school, but you can't skip, you can avoid going to work, or you can't skip your job, if that is a word, right? So how do you adapt? How do you cope in the corporate world? You have to wake up 5 to, this Lagos is even worse. It's like 4 to 7 or 8 or 9. How do you cope? And as a tech person, please, we need coping mechanisms. Our tech uncle. Thank you.
Oh, I think I now have a new name. All right. So how do we cope as someone who is in entry level? I think we talked about a couple of them. One is that you have to understand that you are bringing value to the organization. So I mean, keep your heads up, right? Don't feel like that they did you a favor by employing you. All right. So behave or work like someone who is bringing value. Interact like someone who is bringing value, right? So don't look down on yourself. You might be an entry level person, but don't look down on yourself. Number one. Number two is, I spoke about it on that. If hopefully, I want to believe that you know your skill, you're good with your skill. Understand how the corporate world works, right? Now, note that there are some things that are outrightly illegal, right? Do not participate, do not partake in illegal things, right? If you're a Christian, of course, do not partake in things that are against your values, right? But also understand that there's a way like the corporate works. Again, take note, I'm saying it very clearly. There's a way the corporate works, but also know that you have boundaries that you would not cross. Do you understand? So um understand, oh, there's office politics, for example. Oh, there are key people in this organization who have like the ear of the CEO, for example. How can I be on their good side? All right. And so that's a thing. So how can I be on their good side? again, like I said, you know your boundaries. Don't now go and do something, do illegal things, or because you want to be on the good side of people who are in the whatever, right? But how can I be on the good side? So that's it. I think it's some of the things also that is very important is also learn to document as well. I think it's something that I'm also like heavily investing in learning as well. So learn to document. So your wins, the things you're learning, document like mad. Because there will be days that those documents you need to use it to, I mean, speak for yourself, right? And I think I also understand that the corporate world, like the organization is not your family, they are not your friends. They would always think of themselves first. So always put yourself first. Remember, like I said, they did not do you a favor. You are bringing value to the organization. So in every case, always understand that you should prioritize yourself. What that means is, yeah, you're doing tech, you're in finance. Those are very key, very crazy. That's a very crazy space to be. But you have to understand that the organization will take away your life, because you can want to please the organization so much, you lose friends, you lose family, spending a lot of time in work. And then one day where the organization feels like, oh, our money is not so much again, we have to drop staff, you'll probably be the first person that they will drop without thinking about whether so understand that you're to understand that difference. You go to work, you do your job, all right. You know how to play the whole only make sure that it doesn't steal your life. So you have your friends on the way that it even works, because people think that remote is very easy. Remote is where you actually work 24/7, because I mean you if it's 9 to 5, once it's 5 o'clock, you have closed. From 5 o'clock to the next 9 a.m., you're not doing work basically, right? But with remotes, they assume that they can call you by 9 p.m. or 11 p.m. and you carry your laptop and you start working. But understand where boundaries are. So you know that okay, from 9 p.m., for example, I think also depends on what you do anyway. But from 9 p.m., for example, these are my boundaries. Things during the weekends, I make sure that I spend time with my family and stuff like that. If you work a job that 247 requires your attention, from day one, be working out your way out of that job for your next role from the very first day that you have started. So if the job you are currently doing doesn't like it requires that you are working from morning till night to morning till night during the weekends on Sundays and things like that, you just work your exit. You can tell yourself the next 3 years max or 2 years max, I'll be out of this place. And so from day one, you're working your exit. You are delivering your value, but of course, you are looking out already for your next role that's going to give you more time flexibility. But I hope that helps. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. That was really, really insightful. Thank you, our tech uncle. Thank you so much. So, like you said, right, if a job requires your 24/7 attention, please work your exit, right? Because you want to have time to build something sustainable for yourself. It is advisable to start as a corporate person, but if you know that your end goal is not to be on the up ladder, please make sure that you also have time for your personal development. Make sure you have time for your, for your business if you are looking into scaling into the business world. So another advice I would like to give for anybody going into the corporate world is that you know your your superiors. Know your superiors, just like knowing your customers. But then our guest speaker already spoke on it, but I'll just briefly speak on that. One thing you want to ensure that you do not do is that you do not want your superior to feel like a you are an there's a word for it, but I'm trying to remember right now. Okay, yes. Don't let your superior feel inferior to you. Right. So there's a way you can position yourself that you start to look like a threat to your superior. And don't let that happen. Don't make that mistake. Right. Because in the corporate world, no matter how good you are, your superior or somebody that that has power. And I hope you know that when I call superior, I do not necessarily mean your line manager or somebody that you report to directly. There are some people that it could just be the driver that is actually your superior. There are some people that when they speak to the owner of the company, he can decide to do anything for you, either good or bad. So make sure that you know the people that are actually the eye stickers, people that are actually there, people that can speak, and then the next day, everybody is moving to support you or everybody is moving to remove you. When you highlight these people, you are good. So make sure that you are not a threat. The moment you begin to look like a threat to your superior or somebody that has influence, a high amount of influence in that company, you are gone. Even if you are good at your job, right? So make sure you know there is always office politics, but make sure that you are experienced, you have that office know-how. It's just like having street OT. You need office OT. Yeah, sometimes that you don't, even if you know what you are doing, you don't necessarily have to, show that you know what you are doing in the presence of everybody, right? There's a place of strategical positioning, but there's a place where you know that if you say these things, it makes you look like you know more than your superior, right? And then your superior start to think like, this person might take my job. Now, you might not mean anything bad, right? So to say, but just make sure that especially when you are reporting, when you are speaking, avoid I did this or I achieved this. Except you're pitching or you're saying something to enhance your promotion or I advise that. But when you are speaking generally for your team, make sure that you do not say I did this. We achieved so. Even if your manager did not do anything. You see, knowing these things will help you. Knowing these things will keep you. Knowing when to shut up will keep you. Knowing when to speak will keep you. Don't speak at all times. Don't keep quiet at all times. It is very dynamic, but it is something you need to learn. Another thing you need to know is that you are no longer a student. So when you go into the corporate world, you are now a professional, a core professional. You do not necessarily have to be older than somebody to command a particular authority. If they give you an assignment, make sure that you give it your best. Make sure that you give it your best. Most times, people tend to trust you based on your results. So if I give you an assignment today and you're unable to deliver, I just have this level of uncertainty about you already. But if I give you an assignment today and I tell you, give me this thing tomorrow 10 p.m. and I see it tomorrow 8 p.m., I'm like, okay, I think I can give this person the next assignment. And like that, you're good to go. They start to trust you with big things. And you start to imagine, where did I get here? This is how people get open doors. I tell you that these things work. So the day you will walk up to somebody to ask them for something you think you demand, they don't have any other choice than to give you. Why? You have shown value. I okay, well, we're recording this, so I really would not tell you some personal experience I've had that, when you speak up, people are just forced to help you. Why? Because they know that this person is too valuable for us to lose the person. So make sure that you build value over time. And because of our time, we are going to end this session very quickly. I think I've addressed all the questions that we have, but if you have any other question, I will send it to our speaker. Is going to send his response to us on the group chat and we'll communicate. But the time is fast spent, so we really need to end the session now. Moses, do you have anything to say? Because of the time, I won't be giving any closing remark. I think I've already spoken a lot and I think I addressed some issues too. And our speaker has done an excellent job. So I'm just going to thank. Oh, how do I join the group? So I'm guessing that Messi is not on the group. Okay, so I'm going to Moses, please confirm that you're on this call. All right, so I'm not sure he's on the call. So all right, please can you drop the group link so that that person can join
Yeah, I'm
the
working
group?
on it.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to be dropping things on the group. Please make sure that you're on the group if you're not there, because we're going to be having this monthly growth series. The one for next month, we're going to be talking about skills and how to monetize your skills. You know, we're going to be doing. All right, we're going to be doing. All right, thank you. So we're going to be doing amazing sessions throughout this year. It's all about growth. Throughout this year, it's all about growth. So I'm going to be using this opportunity to thank our speaker. Thank you so much, our tech uncle, for giving us your time. I mean, you're still here with us by this time. We do not take your presence for granted. We do not take this for granted. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And to our amazing moderator, Mr. Moses, the one and only M to the O to the S to the E to the S. Oh my God, I'm a good DJ. Thank you so much for moderating this session. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. You know that I appreciate you always. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if this okay, don't let me start again. I wanted to say that we are looking for wife for Moses. So in case you are interested, send me a DM. Thank you so much. Thank you, Moses. Thank you. And to our amazing participants, thank you for joining. Thank you for staying till the end. I hope you learned one or two things. Please, before we go, I want us to quickly do something. I want you to drop the things that you learned in the comment section, or you drop it on the group, just so that people that missed the session can see the things that they missed, and so that our speaker can see that he has actually passed the information very well. So make sure that you drop what you learned, what stood out for you, Tell us about your experience during this session so that our speaker can know that he passed his information appropriately, and also we know that impact has been made through this session. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I can see comments already. I learned differently. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for dropping it. Please make sure that you drop it. And yeah, we'll also drop the note on the group so that you can also drop your review there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that we followed attentively. Thank you so much, our speaker. Mr. Moses, we can do like I think closing prayer, and then we call it a night. Thank you for staying till the end. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. Once again, thank you. Dami, please stop setting me up. Anyways, thank you very much. I want to appreciate our speaker yet again. Thank you so much. Let's not go into his having us today. We are really grateful, and thank you everyone that availed yourself. God bless you. I see us having a change of having experiencing great changes in our career, in our whatever path we choose, in Jesus' name. So quickly, Father in heaven, we thank you. We bless your name for the opportunity you've given to us. Thank you, Lord, for this session. We ask, Lord, that everything we've learned, Lord Jesus, the grace, Lord, to put them into practice, Lord, we ask that you give unto us in Jesus' name. We ask, King of Glory, that even as we have our sessions, Lord, for the subsequent months, we ask that you would help us in Jesus' name. Thank you, blessed Father, for in Jesus' mighty name I've prayed. So thank you very much, everyone, once again. Have a good night rest and see you next month.
All right, thank you so much. So some people are saying that the link is not going through. If you cannot click on the link, please send me a message. I just dropped my WhatsApp number. Just send me a message. Tell me that you want to be added to the group, and I'll definitely add you to the group. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful night rest. Bye. See you next month.